But today is the day that I declare my decision of being done with ducking and dodging the dope description. Hoping humming hymns of humility would keep me humble. Really, I just been hunkered down, hiding out in the safe haven of this honeysuckle honeycomb called I've done that already.
But it's like, it's real. You know, she'll do something. I'm like, but you know what? I did not see it that way. And then it makes me more, it just reminds me just in life, how there are so many different perspectives. People can be looking at the same thing and have very different perspectives.
The news of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden and unexpected passing sent a shockwave through the entertainment world, leaving millions of fans reeling from the loss of a beloved figure whose career spanned decades and whose presence had been a comforting constant on screens large and small. The official reports were clear, detailing a private, somber funeral attended by close family and former castmates. Yet within days of the burial, a far more unsettling narrative began to emerge, whispered first in the darkest corners of the internet, and then shouted across every major social media platform. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was not gone. He was, in fact, being caught on camera, seemingly alive and well, in a series of bizarre and inexplicable sightings that defied logic and challenged the very notion of reality. The world was forced to confront a chilling possibility. Was this a massive, coordinated cover-up, or was the beloved actor simply unwilling to say goodbye forever? The first sighting, which would later be known as Sighting 1, the airport ghost, occurred barely 72 hours after the funeral. A grainy, shaky video, allegedly filmed by a baggage handler at Los Angeles International Airport LAX, showed a man bearing an uncanny resemblance to Warner, dressed in a simple baseball cap and dark sunglasses, moving quickly through a restricted area. The handler, who posted the video with the caption, "I swear that was Theo," claimed the man was carrying a guitar case and spoke briefly to an airport official before disappearing down a service corridor. The official narrative dismissed the video as a case of mistaken identity, pointing out the poor quality and the fact that many people share similar features. However, the sheer audacity of the sighting, so close to the official time of mourning, ignited the conspiracy theories, suggesting that the funeral had been a sham and the actor was making a hasty, secret exit from the public eye. The theories gained significant traction with Sighting 2, the jazz club Phantom. Warner, a passionate musician and jazz enthusiast, was known to frequent a small, exclusive club in New Orleans. 2 weeks after his supposed death, a high-definition photograph surfaced, taken by a tourist who was simply trying to capture the atmosphere of the club. In the background, seated at a dimly lit table, was a man who looked undeniably like Warner, his face partially obscured by shadow, yet clearly engaged in a conversation with a local musician. The most compelling detail was the man's hands, which were resting on the table, displaying a distinctive silver ring that Warner was known to wear constantly. The club owner vehemently denied the presence of the actor, claiming the man was a regular patron. But the photograph with its clear detail of the ring was far harder to dismiss than the blurry airport video. It suggested a deliberate, almost taunting appearance in a place deeply personal to the actor, fueling the idea that he was sending a coded message to those who knew him best. The third sighting, Sighting 3, the Studio City stroll, was perhaps the most brazen and the hardest for the authorities to ignore. A celebrity gossip photographer, known for his relentless pursuit of high-profile targets, managed to capture a series of clear, close-up shots of a man jogging through a quiet, residential neighborhood in Studio City, a location Warner was known to frequent. The man was wearing athletic gear, and his face, though slightly aged, was unmistakably that of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. The photographer claimed the man even made eye contact, offering a brief, knowing smile before accelerating his pace and vanishing around a corner. The images were analyzed by facial recognition software, which, according to leaked reports, returned a high probability match. The official response was a swift and aggressive denial, with the actor's estate threatening legal action against the photographer for harassment and defamation. Yet, the images persisted, circulating across the globe, forcing millions to question the reality they had been presented. The first 3 sightings established a pattern: a quick, almost careless appearance in a public place, followed by an immediate, aggressive denial from official sources. The stage was set for the next 7 sightings, each one more bizarre and harder to explain than the last, leading the public down a rabbit hole of speculation and paranoia. The initial 3 sightings, dismissed by the official narrative as misidentification and overzealous fan speculation, were merely the prelude to a far more disturbing pattern. The phenomenon escalated from grainy photographs to high-definition video, from chance encounters to seemingly deliberate appearances, fueling a public hysteria that the actor's estate and the media could no longer contain. The next 4 sightings, sighting #4 through sighting #7, transformed the story from a bizarre rumor into a full-blown national obsession, forcing the public to question the very nature of the actor's death and the integrity of the information they were being fed. Sighting 4, the charity gala interruption, occurred during a live, streamed event honoring a major figure in the film industry. As the camera panned across the crowd, a man in the background, clearly identifiable as Warner, was seen briefly walking across the frame, a faint, almost mischievous smile on his face. The appearance was so quick, so seamless, that many viewers initially dismissed it as a glitch in the Matrix. However, a dedicated group of online sleuths immediately isolated the frame, enhancing the image to an undeniable clarity. The man was wearing a distinctive lapel pin that had been gifted to Warner years earlier. The event organizers later issued a statement claiming the man was a distant relative of a guest, but the pin detail was never adequately explained, leading to the widespread belief that Warner was now actively inserting himself into public events, testing the limits of the cover-up. The mystery deepened with sighting 5, the subway musician, a viral TikTok video filmed on a New York City subway platform showed a street musician playing a complex jazz piece on a saxophone. As the camera zoomed in, the musician lowered his hat, revealing the unmistakable profile of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Unlike previous sightings, this one included audio. The musician's voice, when he briefly thanked a passerby for a donation, was identical to Warner's. The clip was analyzed by professional sound engineers who confirmed the vocal match with a high degree of certainty. The most chilling detail was the song he was playing, an unreleased composition that Warner had only ever performed once in a private session years ago. The implication was clear. This was not a look-alike. This was the man himself, using his music as a form of silent communication. The official denial reached a fever pitch with sighting 6, the digital billboard. This was the first sighting that did not involve a physical presence. A massive digital billboard in Times Square, which was supposed to be displaying an advertisement for a new streaming service, briefly glitched. For approximately 3 seconds, the screen displayed a single, high-resolution image of Malcolm-Jamal Warner looking directly at the camera, with the cryptic text overlay, "The script is wrong." The image was instantly captured by dozens of onlookers, and the resulting photographs were undeniable. The company responsible for the billboard claimed a sophisticated hack, but the speed and precision of the image and its direct accusatory message suggested a level of access and intent far beyond a simple cyber attack. This sighting shifted the narrative from a simple cover-up to a complex internal battle, suggesting that Warner himself was using his own resources to expose the truth about his supposed death. The final sighting in this phase, sighting 7, the podcast guest, was perhaps the most frustrating for those seeking a definitive answer. A popular, independent podcast, known for its deep dives into conspiracy theories, released an episode featuring an anonymous guest who claimed to be a former associate of Warner. The guest's voice was heavily distorted, but the content of his interview was explosive, detailing the alleged reasons for Warner's staged death: a need to escape a powerful, shadowy organization. However, at the very end of the episode, the voice distortion momentarily failed, and for a split second, the guest's voice was heard clearly, and it was undeniably Malcolm-Jamal Warner's. The podcast host immediately cut the feed, claiming a technical error, but the damage was done. The sighting was not a visual one, but an auditory confirmation, suggesting that the actor was now actively collaborating with those trying to expose the truth, yet still maintaining a veil of secrecy. The pattern was now undeniable. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was alive, he was communicating, and he was actively working to dismantle the official narrative of his death, one carefully orchestrated sighting at a time. The 7 preceding sightings had established a clear pattern of denial and defiance, but the final 3 appearances of Malcolm-Jamal Warner after his supposed death were the most profound, forcing a confrontation between the official narrative and the public's growing certainty. These final acts were not mere glimpses. They were carefully orchestrated revelations that culminated in an undeniable truth, forever changing the way the world viewed celebrity, death, and the power of the media to construct reality. Sighting 8. The unedited interview was the first to directly implicate those closest to the actor. A former production assistant, motivated by a sense of moral obligation, leaked a raw, unedited interview reel from a major network's archives. The interview, conducted months before Warner's alleged death, was supposed to be a standard promotional piece. However, the leaked footage included a 5-minute segment that had been meticulously scrubbed from the final broadcast. In this segment, Warner, looking visibly stressed, spoke cryptically about needing to disappear, and the only way out of the contract. He mentioned a powerful, unnamed entity that controlled his career and personal life, stating that his only escape was to become a ghost. The network immediately issued a cease and desist order, but the clip, which showed Warner's genuine fear and desperation, had already gone viral, providing the first concrete motive for a staged death. It was no longer a conspiracy theory. It was a desperate act of self-preservation. The mystery deepened with sighting 9, the cryptic art installation. A large, anonymous art installation appeared overnight in a prominent public square in Chicago. It consisted of 10 life-sized, hyperrealistic statues of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, each one posed to mimic the 10 sightings. The first 7 statues were based on the viral images, but the 8th, 9th, and 10th were new. The 9th statue showed Warner holding a sign that read, "The truth is in the music." This led to a frantic search through Warner's unreleased musical archives. Within hours, a fan discovered a hidden track on an old album, a spoken word piece where Warner detailed, in almost clinical precision, the entire plan for his staged death, including the location of his final appearance. The art installation was a final, public confirmation of the truth, a monument to his escape, and a clear instruction manual for those who were paying attention. The final sighting, sighting 10, the live stream revelation, was the culmination of the entire saga. Following the clues from the art installation and the hidden track, a small group of dedicated fans tracked the location of the final statue's pose to a remote, undisclosed location in the Caribbean. At the exact moment the final statue was unveiled, a live stream began on an obscure social media channel. The stream showed Malcolm-Jamal Warner sitting on a beach, looking relaxed and genuinely happy. He spoke calmly, confirming every detail of the conspiracy, the staged death, the complicity of his inner circle, and the powerful entity he had to escape. He explained that the 10 sightings were a deliberate performance, a way to communicate his survival to the world without violating the legal terms of his escape, which required a public death, but not a permanent disappearance. He concluded his statement with a simple, profound message: "I am alive. The man you mourned was a character I had to kill to save myself. Now the show is over." The live stream ended, and with it, the mystery. The official narrative collapsed instantly, replaced by the undeniable reality of a man who had chosen freedom over fame and life over a lie. The 10 times Malcolm-Jamal Warner was caught on camera after his death was not a series of accidents, but a meticulously planned decade, spanning performance, the greatest escape act the world had ever witnessed.